Welcome back to another episode of Spa. I joined this lobby just as the race was ending, so that I could go quickly into qualifying, and of course the full qualifying and then the race. But since the previous race was still going, I set out to do a couple laps still, since I had the chance and I figured I could use the warm-up. And so there is no pressure on this lap whatsoever. I'm very much far back in the race, not expecting anything as a result there. It's not qualifying, so I can full push. And so in Radio and Eau Rouge I don't lift, and I make it through without a track limit, so very cool. I do go a bit deep there in the comb, but nothing dramatic. Yeah, just trying to keep it together and see what I can do when there is no pressure at all. I did put the quali setup, so my fuel load also is quite low. I think it starts at 16 or 15 maybe on Spa, I'm not sure anymore. But yeah, in any case quite low. Here in Pouhon I left some room on the outside, on the middle of the corner, but then on the exit I do maximize the space quite well. Pretty tight, neat through Le Fine, so nice. Okay, and then Campus, and next up Stavolo, also going to try to do it flat out again. Nothing to lose, why not? And I hold it together, get the flat out there too. So 2 for 2, want to go in zones where I find it tricky to go flat out. The third one is the one I find the easiest, but still it's not a given that I get it. I go a bit hard on the apex maybe, but again a flat out held, no track limits, so very cool. Just navigating the bus stop, I brake maybe a little bit early, so I come up a bit short on entry of the first corner, but yeah, it's okay. And I put down a 2:20.9, so I'm pretty sure that's my personal best on the track. So yeah, I was very happy with that. I would still like to go below the 2:20s, but yeah, like it's been good progress for the past couple of days. Then we set off for qualifying. This car in front is just a little faster out of the pits than me, so we'll follow them on the outlap. Or not. Anyway, so I set out, do my outlap, do the first push lap, and I do a 2:22.7. I follow it up with a 2:22.4, and I still have just about enough gas in the tank to do another lap, I think. It's gonna be very close. I started out with 3.6 liters. You can see that on the dash next to the gear. The gear in big says 5, and then to the left of it there's a column of numbers, and the lowest one of those is the fuel load. So now it's 2.8, 2.7, 2.6, so going down very rapidly. Of course this is on a straight. But anyway, the lap itself, this time I didn't manage to do it flat out through Eau Rouge and Radio, but yeah, not too big a lift, it was quite alright, quite short also. And I'm up on my best lap so far by about 0.3 of a second, so pretty good. The fuel level by now is down to 2 liters, and I'm starting to get worried, I mean I was worried a bit from the start, but this feels like it might not be enough. I was heavily monitoring it on every section where I didn't have to pay attention to curbs and turning and so on. My delta is looking good though, about 4 tenths, even 5-6 tenths up now. Getting a lot of time here in La Fine. A bit more again in Campus, and then Stavolo I'll try to do it flat out, but I don't want to ruin this lap because I'm gaining a lot of time, so far 7 tenths. I do quite a big lift eventually in Stavolo, but yeah, rather keep this lap together. I could have been more brave there though. On entry to Blanchimont I really make it really tight with the track limits. again, keep it together. I do keep it flat out there, and my fuel load is at 0.2 now. 0.1. I was counting down to the start finish. 0, and my motor gives out, but exactly maybe a couple meters over the finish line, so it was perfect timing. And I set a 2:21.6 for my best quali time, netting me P6 at the start of the race. So here we go. In front of me, I think there was a car missing on the grid. So I think I inherit P5 from there, and then the car on my right, he had a bit of a worse start than me. So that gives me P4 going to Le Combe. And I'm quite close behind P3, so I'm thinking about immediately making a move here, which is probably not very smart. Unfortunately, P3 also does what seems like a move. At least they start their turn in super early, meaning I have to divert even more. Yeah, here we see that they came to the right very early and then they back out of it when they see me coming, but it compromises my braking zone. And I crash into P2. I felt really bad about it. It was definitely my fault. But back to my view, so I don't have heavy damage or anything, so I can continue the race, and it looks like another possibly comeback drive. I fall down to P14 at this point. So in front of me I now have Carabas. But yeah, the incident, it was very unfortunate. I shouldn't have gone for it on lap 1, or definitely should have played it safe and just feel out how it goes. It's not the time to make these kind of moves. Much better to settle into the race and scope out what kind of driver you have in front of you. Like here with Cahabas, I'm just checking a bit, coming out of Pujo, I see that they don't take the neatest lines. In Lefang, they go way deep into the first one. A bit of carnage on the left maybe, or just some smoke plumes. And then into Campus, I see a good chance here, so I do go for it. And I get by cleanly. And that's a pass on Cahabas. I was pretty happy with that one, especially after the previous attempt. Skipping, or taking the view of Cahabas then. So a bit pedestrian through Lefagne. Very slow on the gas coming out of there, so I immediately have overspeed even on this tiny little straight section, and I can easily get alongside and even in front of them, and then completing the move nicely before Stavolo. At this point I saw them going off track in Stavolo, so I was a bit worried that they would have revenge on their mind. Sometimes happens in these public lobbies. I was checking my mirrors for what they were doing, especially coming to the bus stop chicane, because it's a great place if you want to really ram into someone. But it all looks alright, and then I'm shifting my focus to the battle in front. So there's a 3-person battle happening with Kexus, Manuele and Fredson. And I'm thinking I need to just stick behind and pick up the pieces when inevitably something will go wrong, or someone spins or goes off. Pay no mind to the lap timers on the left for the first lap on Spa. They're always really off for some reason. I try to go flat out here in Radion, but I don't manage it. Quite a similar lift to the one in Quali, actually. But yeah, not too bad. The 3 ahead are still battling heavily. And we do get a spin. Manuele gets spun, and I can just drive past them with them trying to recover safely. Which is always appreciated, of course. So now we're trailing Kexus and Fredson. I'm still looking to overtake them as well. And the question is now whether they will start battling again. Oh, we have another spin Schumacher. So I'm now P10 already. And here I think Kexus runs a little wide Empurron. Fredson goes for the inside on exit. Doesn't quite get alongside, but then dives to the inside in Lefine. Kexus is not having it, hits him from behind, and they both go off. I was worried to get hit there from the left, but so I take it a bit safe in the second part of Lefine, but I pass safely and I'm well on my way in P8 now. So climbing up quite quickly. At this point I'm looking ahead and behind, so Manuele has recovered well. They have taken their place back from Fredson and Kexus. Maya is quite a bit ahead of me, about 6 seconds. So Manuele is definitely the closer driver, and on first notice I'll be looking to defend rather than attack, although if I can catch up with Maya, of course I wouldn't mind it, and I'll do my best to overtake there as well. I noticed that they put down a 224.5, with me putting a 224.7, that's with several overtakes and having to play it a bit safe and slow down here and there. So I know my pace is better than this if I push, so I'm thinking that an overtake could well be in the cards. Manuele behind has a 227 point something, but it doesn't matter of course, because that was with their spin. Actually that's quite quick considering they had a spin, so impressive. Also they already have closed quite a bit of the gap towards me. In fact, they seem to be approaching really fast, and I do notice that I'm catching up with Maya, but not as fast as Manuele is catching up to me. So I'm starting to think about strategy here. If the car behind is this much faster, it makes more sense to just let them pass and try to take their slipstream and let them drag you along, so that when they start putting overtakes in front, you can potentially profit from those as well. Also of note is that I wasn't sure who the car was that I tagged in P2. I had no idea actually. I did look it up afterwards and it was not Manuele, but during the race I thought maybe it was him, because right after the incident he was writing stuff on chat as well about it's making it look like he got tagged. So I thought maybe that was me and I had just taken out a faster player, contributing to my idea of potentially letting them pass here. We do see Maya get out of shape here between Campus and Stavelo, so I'm trying to get a run out of Stavelo on them, but I don't mind quite have the speed to catch up before Blanchimont, so I decide to let Manuele pass there, because it's minimal time loss for me and I can stay right behind, and I can see if they can put a move then maybe in the bus stop chicane, which they do seem to be setting up for, but then Maya just, I don't know what happened there, they just drove off the track straight, and they seem to be out of the race. I have no idea. So now it's a bit unfortunate that I let Manuele pass, since yeah, the idea was that in first place that they could help me overtake Maya, and or at least not make me lose too much time defending, so that I could still go after Maya after. But still, their last lap was a 220.6, so I haven't managed that in race pace at all, so I don't think it's that bad for me to have let them pass. Another slow car ahead, this time it's Jensen, who is P19, so again I'm not sure what's happening there. I go too deep into Le Combe 1, but I keep it together. Still trailing Manuele relatively close. Yeah, it's always good to be able to follow a faster driver. It allows you to see better lines and try to gain a bit of knowledge by following them. And so Manuele is now coming up on TS. So here it plays out a bit the same, that maybe if they put a move on TS, if I can get close enough behind by the time they actually pull it off, I can potentially slip through as well. So I have a bit of work to do now because I've fallen back a bit, but they are not in a zone where an overtake is immediately possible. So if TS still has to put on a bit of a defense, that should allow me to catch back up. Behind me, I notice a back marker, by the way, Kovsky, who is pulling up really fast as well. Since it's a back marker, I don't really feel like letting them through. It's not like Manuele, who is in the same lap as me, and it's about positions there, and they can do overtakes on the people in front that I can profit off of. Kovsky, well, since he's a back marker, I don't think other people will be inclined to really let him through. I don't think he'll be as inclined to pull overtakes. So I'm definitely not gonna wave them through. If they can unlap themselves on me, that's fair game, that's all good, but I'm not gonna jump out of the way. Anyway, in front we see Manuele seemingly now making the overtake, but then has to fold back in behind TS going into Radio, Rouge and Radio. And here I noticed that I'm faster on straight, so I want to go for an overtake, and I figured I'll go for the inside. But then as I'm doing that, he pulls all the way to the right, and I want to go back left, but at this point Kovsky is there, quite dangerously close, so I don't feel comfortable moving back left to try and complete the overtake there. So in the end I'm still stuck behind Manuele. But at least I have closed the gap now, so if anything happens in front between those two, I can move along with and maybe take a position there. At the same time, behind me, Kovsky has been overtaken by someone named Montero. And Montero is super close behind me now, so at this point I have to be careful. I have to look for the overtake in front, but at the same time I have to make sure I don't leave the door wide open behind for an overtake there. And yeah, through Le Fagnin campus and Stavolo, it's a bit of a procession. There's not much in the way of overtaking opportunities there at all, unless you have a big speed differential the way I had with Cajebas at the start. But then coming out of Stavolo, that's where the opportunities lie, either on this flat out section before Blanchimont or then after Blanchimont into the bus stop chicane. In front of me, TS and Manuele pull a small gap. Looks like Manuele might go for an overtake on the inside of the bus stop chicane. And Montero comes plowing through, gives me a good tap on the right, and Kovsky opportunistically goes through it as well. I think our contact was more on me, although I also think it wasn't that smart by him the way he went about it. But if we look at the replay, so this is Montero. You're gonna see he's gonna try a really big dive bomb, way too big really. He doesn't make the corner at all, and then at the end he has to back out of it and he veers back left right into my path, so we touch. But yeah, that's entirely on them. And then the view from Kovsky, so he sees the dive bomb happening, he sees me get hit, but I continue for him on the inside of T2 of bus stop, and he got straight to the apex. And I think it's on me because I wasn't really alongside much at all, but then he's the car unlapping himself. I think a bit of care is extra caution is definitely worth it there, all the more since he did see that I was continuing my path and going into that corner as well. So even if he arrived here a bit faster, I think easy to anticipate that I'll be on the inside there and just leave a bit more space. Anyway, we're back on our way. Kovsky is in front of me, and Fredson now behind, and Manuele and TS have driven off in the distance, and Kovsky decides to give the place back. Again, I do feel like it was mostly on me, so I don't think they need to give the place back at all. But yeah, it is what they did. So I think they could have just driven off in the distance as well, because I'm sure that they have more pace than me. But yeah, it is what it is. I appreciate the thought of wanting to give the place back if they felt that it wasn't rightfully earned. So yeah. But right, the race goes on. Question now is what can I do next? So I do see that in front of me TS seems to have dropped away. I don't know what happened there. I guess he went out of the race. And Manuele seems to be going really slow. I don't know what that's about either. But I'm catching up super fast. With TS out of the picture, by the way, I have now inherited P6. So coming back from P14, it's pretty good all in all. Even though there is only one real overtaking there where I made the move myself, but then I was just driving consistently and safe enough that I managed to pick up the pieces from a lot of people spinning out and crashing out, so not too shabby. And yeah, Manuele, at first I thought maybe they had damage or so that made them so slow. If you look at the state of their car too, it's looking rough. But later I found out that they were just kind of letting me catch up. I think they wanted better racing. Yeah, as you can see, they do the 229, so way off the pace for them. I myself have a 221.4, so pretty good, all in all for my standards. And behind we see Montejo on a bit of a charge. So they came back and they are now 3 spots behind me, but that includes a back marker, who presumably won't put up too much of a fight if it comes to an overtake. And here Manuel is leaving, not going full on the throttle very clearly, letting me pass for some reason. I think maybe trying to farm safety rating, or just wanting a battle. Anyway, I don't mind it. I can see about defending against Manuele again if it comes to that. Also gives me a bit of a buffer again behind, so I now get P5, but I expect to go back to P6 eventually. At the least, depending also on what Montejo does mostly. So Manuele easily sticks close behind. At this point, my theory of damage slowing them down is well off the table. It was clear that they were just waiting for me to pass so that they could have more of a race than or. I go wide into Lefang in the second part. They come really close behind, but it's not a good overtaking opportunity. It is there, as we saw with Cahabas, but I defended better than Cahabas did, so yeah, nothing done there. I have a pretty good stavlo. I have a very shallow lift, so I don't lose too much speed there. And then Blanchimont I stay flat out as well, and I think... okay, so there was a warning for track limits, but yeah, I wasn't sure. It must have been very tight on the lines. I tried to get a good exit out of La Sur. No, sorry, the bus stop chicane. Because this straight is also a small overtaking opportunity, or well, not that small, but my exit isn't all that good, so Manuele goes for it and clears me. Here I should have defended more, I should have covered the inside more than I did. If we look at it from the perspective of Manuele, this will be very clear as well. So my entry into the bus stop chicane isn't that good. I'm a bit from the outside, then I don't hit the apex of the first turn, and then I don't maximize on the exit either. I do keep the distance somewhat the same going out, but then I leave the door wide open so they dive in and that's it, move done. So yeah, I mean, it's not entirely unexpected. I did make a mistake there, but they gave the place to me anyway, so it's whatever. I didn't feel like that place was rightfully mine at all, so it's okay. Now again I have Kovsky really close behind. They look like they might make a move now. They're only 0.1 second behind at some point, but then they back off, and then I don't know what happened there, but I feel like Manuela was on the brakes very early, but then still went deep, and it puts me off my line entirely, and I end up drifting off and falling behind quite a lot. So Manuele and Kovsky are now well past me. Kovsky also managed to get past Manuele at the same corner, understandably, because Manuele was very much out of shape. And this puts Montejo right on my tail, in between 1.5 and 1 second behind. So they were the car that I think did it to 20.6 or something. In any case, a lap time that's quite fast to my standards on Spa. In front of me, we see Manuele had another incident, so yeah, they fall way back again. They get overtaken by pretty much everyone behind us, so Montejo, Jensen, and Proxima. Jensen. And those three are quite close behind, within 2.5 seconds, 3 cars, so yeah. They seem locked in a battle that I'm not yet a part of, but might be in the near future. Don't manage to do Blanchimont flat out and keep it on the track this time. I lifted a bit, and then I also, behind me as we see hits. And then on my left I see Montejo coming out of nowhere, so I have to run wide to avoid. From the perspective of Monteiro, so he also doesn't make Blanchimont. And then he gets a dive on the inside from Jensen, and then he very callously drives back on track, so you see I have to evade and go outside the track to avoid him, but I manage successfully to do that, so I don't take damage at least. Yeah, behind me we see Proxima did a 2:19.3, so this dude is really quite fast, probably the fastest of anyone in this battle. So yeah, even if they're looking to unlap themselves, since they're P9 and Montejo and me are P5 and P4 respectively, yeah, looks like Proxima is the fastest car and is going to look to make his way through. I don't think I noticed that during the race, but definitely afterwards, and at this spot I do see that Proxima is putting a lot of pressure on Montejo, which in turn makes Montejo want to put a lot of pressure on me. So they come up really close behind. They have to avoid me a bit, and that leaves the space for Proxima to go on the inside. And then Kexus is standing on the exit of Bruxelles, right on the racing line. I managed to avoid him very narrowly. So here, Proxima is now on the inside. Montejo goes a bit too hard on the gas and goes a bit sideways, crashes into Kexus. So me and Proxima have made it safely through, and Montejo waits for a safe rejoin. And then when he does, Kexus is again on the racing line, and this dude is a real clown. Like, if we look from his perspective, so I don't know what happened before this, but they were just about to drive off again, but instead of doing so, they just slowly go to the racing line and they just stand there. So me and Proxima go around, Montejo hits from behind, and then Kexus decides, okay, now it's my time to go, so they get going again. And then they spin here, but looks mostly on purpose. I don't know how much in control they were, but then Montejo comes and crashes again because of it. And then this dude is just slowly going backwards while moving left and right side. I don't know. Public lobby clown. Nothing more to say, I guess. Meanwhile, I'm now under pressure from Proxima. I have nothing to gain by keeping them behind though. If we look at my race, I'm P4 by now. Fredson is about 10 seconds behind in P5. And Osama bin Diven is about close to 10 seconds ahead in front. and the race is over pretty much since the leader has finished, so I just need to complete this lap. So yeah, nothing to gain by being firm on Proxima. They go off track to pass me, do a bit of door banging still on the way to Blanchimont, but it's not worth it for me, so I just let them go. They go off track on exit entry to Blanchimont as well. They do keep it on track on the exit. And then they brake super hard into bus stop chicane 1, I don't know why, but that's it, and that's the race. So yeah, P4 in the end. I was quite happy with this. I messed it up right at the start, but then I made up for all of it, so I came back to my P4 that I had right after the start on the Camel Straight. So yeah, pretty happy. So thank you, catch you on the next one.